Oh man, thank you for keeping it. Good morning, Kenya. Excuse my laughter. I'm just listening to what these three characters we have on the other side of the connection talking about, but we'll be letting you know who they are in a bit. But in the meantime, remember we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube. Do let us know where you're watching us from, how you are enjoying the show. It is Entertainment Thursday right here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Jane Wambui. Karibu sana if you are just joining us. Hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jane Wambui. Now, as aforementioned, we had told you, today we're going to be having a discussion that touches on the entertainment industry and touches on it quite a whole lot. So earlier on in the week, during the presidential address, His Excellency did say that he gave actually a directive to the Ministry of Sports, Heritage and Culture to set aside 100 million Kenya shillings that is going to go towards cushioning our artists during this time that we are fighting COVID-19. And this is just supposed to help them, keep doing what they're doing to keep us entertained as we are at home, using TV, internet, and all other forms of media and social media to just keep us entertained and keep us positive and happy during this time that we are self-quarantining at home. He also did mention that, the 200 million that is going to go towards artists in terms of royalties, a pledge that he had made during in the beginning of the year in January is going to also be distributed starting this week. But these two sources of money have started quite the conversation on social media. So much has been said about it. Others even going as far as comparing our creatives to other industry players, saying mbona wanapewa pesa, mbona sisi. I mean, at the end of the day, kuna wenye nafanya mziki na kaivi, but why them? After all, this COVID-19 is affecting almost everyone. So we have with us some industry players this morning to share with us their thoughts when it comes to this whole situation. And right now, I'm joined by Mr. Mbuvi Mbuvi, gospel artist.
Yo!
How you doing?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Gospel artist. Hallelujah. Bwana asifiwe.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
We also have Jua Kali right there, a veteran artist in the industry. Karibu sana Jua Kali.
Yo, nafuata Mbuvi.
This guys are very noisy, by the way. And we also have Eddie Joe, who is now on the actors, representing the actors and script writers in the industry. Hi, Eddie Joe.
What's up, mkoaje, mko fiti?
Tuko fiti. Karibuni sana. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
First of all, are you guys observing these directives that were being given by His Excellency? Isolation, quarantining, social distance, wearing masks? Tuanze na Eddie Joe.
Yes. Mimi niko na sanitizer 3. moja ya mfuko, one for the pocket, one for the family, and one just in case.
Oh, just in case.
Mask bado sijapata because I haven't left the house.
Okay.
Oh, I have one that I will use when if I leave the house.
All right.
Social distance na watoto ni ngumu. But we are good. We are good.
Jua Kali.
Yes.
Social distancing.
Yes, hiyo ni muhimu sana na yani niko rada. Mtu akijaribu kunikaribia wewe kambali na mimi kabisa.
Kambali.
So mimi niko na mask yangu hapa N95.
Wewe good stuff.
Alafu niko na sanitizer ya nyumbani.
Good.
Alafu niko na sanitizer ya mfuko.
Allah, all right. Nini ndio mko serious?
Mbuvi.
Ya mfuko.
Are you tempted to keep spreading the gospel in these tough times?
Yes, gospel lazima. Gospel lazima.
What measures are you putting in place?
Kuna good news of Christ Jesus na kuna good news pia ya avoid corona. Unaona? So yes, quarantine lazima. Hiyo kuweka social distances lazima. Pia sanitizer na pia just internally just in case. Hata kunywa chai unaweka tropical ama corn ndani ndio usikie sanitizer.
Unaka kupika chai na sanitizer wewe.
Hapo hujabombe vizuri Jua Kali, but let's move on. How can guys find you on social media very quickly? At Mbuvi Mbuvi?
At Mbuvi, Instagram it's at Mbuvi, kila kitu Mbuvi tu, Mbuvi.
Jua Kali Genge?
Yes, at Jua Kali Genge. Jua Kali with a C.
Edijo?
So your Twitter, Instagram.
At Edijo Mwaneki kila pahali.
All right, there we have it. Now let's just get straight into this conversation. Kuhusu hii pesa yenye the president has directed to our artists. And I want to get your immediate reactions when you heard this address kutoka kwa president saying 100 million is going to go to cushion our artists during this time. What was your immediate reaction? Ulifeel aje kama msanii? Tuanze nawe Jua Kali.
Okay, mimi kama msanii nilifeel yani appreciated kwanza. So nilifeel appreciated na yani cries zetu zilisikika. So mnajua sisi tumekuwa yani sisi personally sisi ma artists tumekuwa affected directly kabisa. Everyone is affected, yes. But yetu most of jobs zetu kuaga usiku na most of jobs zetu si entertain watu wako healthy, si entertain watu wana wasiwasi. So the moment watu worried, the moment watu wezi tembea, so yani ili affect job yetu kabisa. So the moment nilisikia hiyo kitu toka kwa gava, nilifeel appreciated too. At least manze tumekumbukwa.
Umeshughulikiwa. Edijo, coming to you as someone who's in the industry, especially film industry, say my production cars zote zimeseize. Your immediate reaction after hearing this directive?
I'll take you to where Jua Kali left it from. Sijaisikia urezo wote Kenya ametaja wasanii ama in a public address na kusema na wapatia do. So for me, at first nilibaki yenyewe tumekuwa recognized. That was my first initial thought. I even have a pal who texted me na akaniambia you guy and atanitembelea sasa
mwambia social distancing.
Baadaye ndio that's when it hit me. Do we have a database on how we can actually say that these are the people who are being referred to as artists? Because after your statement, I hear there was someone who even released a song while driving. I mean, for the first time in this country, amidst all this, kulikuwa na Orezo amesimama na akasema ana value art, because without art wacha tutaingia hapo wacha nyamazia
tutakuja hapo. Wewe ni smart, wewe ni sharp, I like it. Mbuvi ukisikia directive from His Excellency himself, 100 million Kenya shillings with immediate effect.
Yes, immediately I thought we were only 100 artists in the country, so nilikuwa nafikiri mtu atapata 1 million. Nikakuja nikarealize we are probably over 20 or 30,000. But anyway, it's like what Jua Kali and Edijo is saying. It's the thought that counts, that we are appreciated. At the end of the day, we are so many, we'll probably get, if it's distributed properly, maybe 2,000, 3,000. But it's the thought that counts, that we are appreciated, and that too wanajua. And yes, direct. Waja wanasema kuna watu ukula hand to mouth. Yes. But wasanii ukula hand from crowds. There is no crowd. Yani so tumekwama, yani tools wetu. Number 2, all of us somehow or another we've been there pushing the corona thing. So nika in a sense the president to appreciate, lakini nika back pay of sorts kusema yenyewe I can see what you're doing, it's a good job. Because whether I sing a corona song or I don't, if Jua Kali sings it, I'll spread it around because I'll say this is a message everyone needs to know. And when I spread it, it's not just movie, it's the whole following on movie. Jua Kali is following, Edijo's following. So we're already doing it. I think it was just Prezo's way of saying you guys are doing good job, keep doing it. You can see that.
I see what you're doing. But now after your directive was given by His Excellency, so much has been said about it on social media. Kuna wenye wana support understanding where this directive came from and how artists felt, but kuna wenye wanasema, why are you focusing on artists? I mean, who needs entertainment? And we are smack in the middle of a pandemic. Why shouldn't you prioritize doctors, mamamboga, other people who seem to be needing this money more? Why do you think people are very salty about hii pesa wasanii wanapata specifically? Jua Kali?
Okay, unajua hizi funds ama hii issue ya corona ina affect. So unajua gava haiwezi amka iseme sasa tunapatia kila mtu do. Lazima roll out pole. Mimi that's my thought. Lazima wa roll out pole. So luckily wameanza na wasanii. So niko sure sana everyone else will be catered for. Niko sure sana. Ni vile tu wameanza na wasanii linaleta pressure mingi.
So hii comparison is not really valid, the fact that una compare wasanii wanapata pesa kwa nini na kwa nini hao wa kwanza. Edijo?
Kila hao inakuanga na budget. And in saa zile kama unapenda githeri, saa zile githeri imeisha, utaenda ubai jua kali, utaenda ubai maharage na ubai monocotyledons na dicotyledons. In a house, everything has its budget. Ni sad that a percentage, hata sidhani imefika 2% mazee. Ile imekam kwa wasanii for the first time ndio inaleta history yote. Because the president has given, even the government, wacha tuseme tu has prioritized everything, even in the health sector. Now, it might not be enough. Money will never be enough. But what we are saying is, with this 100% that I have, 80% goes to the health sector, 5% goes to the transport, 0.01 goes to the artist. Hiyo 0.01 haifai kutuacha. All I can say ni ati kila kitu, everything that the government has a budget, and this is just a portion of that budget. Hakuna tu ingine.
Okay. And of course, we're also going to be joined by Edward Sige, who's the Executive Director of Kikobo, the Kenya Copyrights Board, to also get to hear his stand, given, you know, this finances are set to be distributed, set to go to the artist via this body, which has under other CMOs under it that are in charge of artists. Now, coming to you, Mbuvi, na kama kuna maswali za Mr. Executive Director, pia tunaweza muuliza, given that he will be joining us, sindio? Now, Mbuvi, looking at this situation, the fact that what people are comparing, you know, artist professions and other professions, deeming easy professions zingine more important kuliko ya wasanii, so your finances should have gone to other professions first. Your thoughts?
My thoughts, first and foremost, I like what DJ was talking about, every house. And you know, by the time the president is speaking about something, you know, the president can't handle everything. So he has ministers in various departments. How do we know kama CCS wetu wa culture ameenda akasema, hey, hii sector, look, I have already gathered artists and we've done something. And another thing, can we encourage them some more? So these other sectors, their CSs maybe need to up their game and say, hey, my people need this and this and that and that. That's number one. Number two, there's somewhere, unless I read wrong, I think there's a place it says they're going to be, there's a rollout of 10 billion, I think something like that, unless I read wrong. So there's provision even for those ones at the same time. So all sectors are being catered for, so to speak. So the president can only speak in terms of on behalf or to add power on the particular CS and what they have done. So, and in this I give kudos to Amina Mohamed. Kama credit ni yake sasa, unaona? That's my thinking, that's my perception. So the other sectors also need to up their game and say, hey, there's this here and here and there. So what can we do for our people?
All right. Now, before we are joined by the Executive Director of Kikobo, you know, looking at past experiences between wasanii and all these collective management organizations, kumekuwa na a lot of back and forth when it comes to distribution ya hii pesa down to wasanii. Do you feel like hii pesa will actually get to you guys in proper time and those amounts that, you know, you are expecting? Of course, we'll be getting to the math in not too long. Edijo, let me start with you. Do you trust the collective management organizations to actually make sure that wasanii watapata hii do?
Every opportunity we have is to stand up and be counted, and I think India your time Kenya imefika hapo to stand up and be counted, because we have this picture that kuna corruption, kuna do itenda pahali. Mi naona hii story is the point to stand up and be counted. Wala watapewa hiyo do, they ensure that it gets to the rightful people. I will not say whether itafika ama itafika. I'm just saying this as an opportunity for people to have, you know, structures that work, a clean slate, na tuseme for once do ilikuwa imetengwa kufikia wase ilifika.
All right. Juakali, before we get to Lupin, the director, do you trust the collective management organizations in Ziko in place to actually follow through and make sure that you will get this money? In the past, tumekuwa na issues when it comes to do with royalties kwanza.
Okay, last week tulilipwa na MCSK tulipwa royalty and walifanya press conference mpaka nilikuwa hapo. They did a press conference, so meaning wanaanza kuwa transparent in a way. Unajua, so tulipata chapa, walifanya press conference, waliita watu wa media wakakuja hapa, na pia kulikuwa na watu wa KBC, hata mpaka tulifanya interview. So from to hiyo move nadhani pia imepatia gava pia confidence fulani. Kama wase wako transparent hivi, you can trust them na chapa. So me I believe hii do itafikia watu. Kama ilitufikia before corona ianze, itafikia.
Pia itafika. Movie.
Itafika.
Movie, your thoughts on the same?
Yes.
Trusting the collective management organizations.
I have confidence with the organizations. First and foremost, because every time nikipiga simu just asking about something, hey, what's going on, what's happening, they are very quick to pick. Huyo ni mtu ana kitu ya kuficha. Unaona? And at the same time, you can remember the president gave a directive to the CS of ICT, and he's on it kabisa. Him on it, on akina Kekobo, on akina MCSK Priest and Camp. And they are really working hard to ensure everything rolls out very well. So, like Jokali is saying, I have confidence. I wasn't in the press conference, but when Jokali is in the press conference, I know I'm represented. He's my friend. So I'll ask him, hey, enda uko na mafruits, usikize vizuri, ukuja na benefits kutoka uko, tuko poa. So when Jokali says it, the meeting, the meeting went well.
Yes.
So I have absolute confidence.
Absolute confidence in the collective management organizations in already in existence. Now, speaking of these collective management organizations, we have with us, joining us Saizi is the executive director of Kekobo, the Kenya Copyrights Board, Mr. Edward Sige. He is going to be joining us just right now to be part of this conversation. And he's actually been listening to what you guys are saying. And before we even get deeper into the conversation, welcome to the conversation, sir.
Tesana.
All right, now before we even get further, let us just start by, at least for the benefit of our viewers and our artists also that we have here and those who are watching us at home, maybe you could start by telling us the mandate of the Kenya Copyrights Board and the functions of this board.
The Kenya Copyright Board, I will address the mandate of Kenya. I'll address the mandate of the Kenya Copyright Board in relation to the issue of the CMO. The Kenya Copyright Board gives the licenses to these CMOs and oversees their operations. As of this matter, or even before the President's directive, Kekobo has been undertaking a number of reforms to ensure that CMOs have transparent and accountable systems. And finally, with the new system now, we can have confidence to say that CMOs are now ready and they will be accountable for the monies that will be given to them. Unfortunately, I want to clarify something with regard to on the 100 million that the President gave to the creative sector. That means it's not only the musicians who will get it. The other people who may be also benefiting, who may benefit from it. But they have to be creative. But in the meantime, I would like to tell artists to be patient as we prepare the rules for accessing these funds. We have been communicating this information on social media, and I believe in the next few days we should be able to know how to access this fund. This fund, I wish to reiterate, is linked to content that will be used and probably linked to the current pandemic that we are facing. But what was also in the presidential directive is that the CMOs will pay the monies that they have collected between January and April to ensure that artists at least get something to alleviate the loss of income since February this year.
All right, Mr. Director, you've just mentioned that, unfortunately, not all the artists and creatives in the industry are going to get part of this money. So maybe for clarification purposes, what criteria is going to be used to determine who is the artist in this case, the artist, the actors, the musician? What criteria is going to be used to determine who is going to get part of this money?
What I wanted to say was that we are now in the process of setting that criteria. So there is no criteria now. The criteria is being developed. It will be released by the Ministry of Culture, which will also direct where the money will be paid through, whether it will be paid through the CMO, the newly established CMO system, or through any other way that they, or even what are the rates. But in any, I just wanted to say there will be content that would be required of any artist that fits into the criteria that will be set.
All right. And speaking of CMOs and the fact that you're still in the process of getting those criteria the criteria in order, when it comes to the CMOs, the past 2 years there's been so much going about the licensed CMOs, which ones are licensed and given the rights to operate, and which ones are not. So in this case, which collective management organizations are being involved in this process that artists can trust and expect this money to come from?
We have licensed the Music Copyright Society of Kenya, which is the MCSK. We have licensed Kenya Association of Music Producers, CAMP, and we have also licensed the Performers' Rights Society of Kenya, which is called PRISC. These are the genuine ones for the area of music. There may be other creative sectors that are now organizing to get their CMO. For instance, the producers of films are organizing now. There's a book CMO that is in the process of being revived, and that would form part of the system of the CMOs in Kenya.
All right, we will be getting back to you, Mr. Director, there in not long. But let me come to you guys. Let me start with you, Jua Kali. The fact that, the director has just mentioned that, not all the artists, sadly, not all artists are going to be getting part of this money. How does this resonate with you, especially Kawale, the up-and-coming artists, when they are not even registered on any of these collective management organizations, the fact that they're going to be left out?
Okay, it should be a lesson to all artists. And be a member. And every time we've been telling guys, register for CAMP, register to member of PRISC, register to member of MCSK. Lakini you get artists wengi wanapuuza. So this time it will be a huge lesson to them. Next time wakiambiwa join, watajoin. Because definitely the moment we see member, hakuna pesa itakufikia. Yes, so it should be a lesson.
Mbuvi, and to all these, the underdogs, wako mashinani, they don't even know anything about some of these collective management organizations. How should they be even, in terms of awareness, how can they be brought into the conversation? Could you about these CMOs?
Well, we try as much as possible to tell them about the CMOs and what's going on. I'm sure even now that we are having this discussion and guys are like, hey, there's money. Where is this money going to? Other than even the 100 million, the 2 billion, they'll know it's royalties collected, and they'll be like, hey, how do we get a bit of that so we can educate? We try and educate them where we can, where possibly we can. And I think the information is disseminating properly. Number two, at least what Bwana Sige is saying, alleviates all those fears. People are assuming that we are just being given handouts. That look at what he's saying. That means it is for work we are going to do, or work that has already been done, I think. I'm assuming anything to do with the pandemic, that is what you'll be given that money to sensitize people in as far as that is concerned. So, I think we're at a good place. It makes sense, I think.
All right. Eddie Joe, your thoughts as well, especially for those, when it comes to now script writing, the film industry, some might think that, okay, maybe this is not for me, ini wasanii wenye wanaimba pekee, but importance here to being part of this collective management organizations.
Actually, it's a good place to start because sadly, as we all encourage our brothers and sisters in the music industry, it seems like the conversation also stalls when it comes to that. Only musicians are artists, and even from what the organizations that have been mentioned, MCSK and Prisk, there are few actors in Prisk, but the bulk of the performers there are musicians. So I just want to say that even actors and actors, scriptwriters, filmmakers also have their own bodies. They may not be registered per se by the government, but most of them are. And this would also be a place to start, because we always tell people, join a guild, join the Scriptwriters Guild, of which I am a member of, join the Actors Guild, of which I'm a member of. And these are the ways on how we can define who you are as an actor, who you are as a creative, who you are as a scriptwriter.
Nice.
So I'll just echo what Jua Kali and Mbuvi are saying, that we need these organizations and we need people on the ground to know that they are not just there for WhatsApp chats. They are there in times like in times like this, tukuje pamoja, so that people can know Eddie Joe is a member of the Actors Guild, of the Scriptwriters Guild, and he is due something because of being a part of that guild.
All right. Now, bringing back the Bona Director into the conversation, when it comes to the distribution of this money, yes, it's coming from the sports fund under the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage, but is the ministry the one going to be distributing this money straight to the collective management organizations, or it's going to go through the Kenya Copyrights Board? How is this money going to be distributed?
That's one of the details actually that are being worked on. So I would expect that probably early next week we should have that information. There's a team working on it. So I cannot say for sure. I would be lying if I told you I know where it will be, how it will be distributed, or the road in where it will be distributed through. So for the moment, I think that is an issue I would rather not comment on. Yeah.
All right. And still in light of, just to clear out the speculations, there's so much that is being said, at least on social media, not mainstream media, on social media, when it comes to the amount that the artists are going to be receiving. So far yesterday, the conversation on Twitter was that artists are going to be getting around 5,200 each, and these are the 19,000 that are known to be registered with these CMOs. When it comes to just the amount that each artist is going to be receiving, what can you say about that at this point?
I think that is pure speculation. There's really no figure that I can give you at the moment. But that's why it's part of the criteria to say, if you put your content in a certain platform, you may get this amount of money. And what is the nature of that, depending on the nature of the content that we require. So I think for that, I think we don't have an official amount. It has not been released. The amount that you saw being bandied around are really speculative, because how do we know even the number of artists? How do we know the types of content that we will be required under this framework? So I think you need to take that with a pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt. All right, Bona Director, we have also a few creatives with us here, and Eddie Joe has a question that he would like to direct to you. Go for it, Eddie Joe.
Just in the spirit of being Kenyan, we are bound to have new artists join into the board, into the wagon, after the incentives are mentioned by the president. How do we then protect for lack of a better word, protect the guys who are already doing it and might be overtaken by people who all of a sudden want to be artists, and they register and they go on and do stuff and leave the artist who actually been there for a long time without anything?
I think your question is quite timely. That criteria, I think, should be able to address that. The idea is, while Kenya is a free market, I would expect that the quality would win over, and the quality would come really from experience, would win over those ones who are coming, who are, you may call, opportunists. So for me, I'm not really worried about somebody who has experience, has quality, who has a talent, as against somebody that is a newbie that wants to quickly come in and I think people also need to take to have a perspective. 100 million is not a lot of money. So I would really caution people who may want to come in and to thinking that there's a lot of money, that 100 million is a lot of money. They may lose.
I'm thinking that the money would go a long way.
It would go a long way in helping one thing or the other.
It will go.
Juakali, would you be having a question for Bwana Director?
Niko na swali kweli. Okay, sina swali. Mimi tu nikusisitiza tu. They just make sure hiyo pesa itufikie kwa mkono.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Mbuvi.
Sure.
Yes.
Unaweza kuwa na swali ungependa Bwana Director address at this point?
Ningesema hiyo pesa iongezeke, lakini sitaki wananchi wazushe. What I would say is, I think I'm caught in between. Of course, everyone wants to receive a little bit of money, but I like the idea that he's saying that we should put it to maybe to push this corona agenda. I think it would be wonderful. It would make more sense that way, because if you distribute, you are calculating with 19,000 people. If you look at all artists, including actors and everyone, we're probably 30, 40, 50,000. If you divide that money, that's about 2,000 shillings. Yes, 2,000 inaweza saidia mtu, but I'm imagining if you use this money for a project that sensitizes people and brings us to a better place, because we are the voice of the society, maybe it's even much better. I will lose more money, that 2,000 or 3, but we'll have more impact with that money as opposed to just distributing kwa kila mtu 1,000 ama 2,000. That's my opinion. That's Mbuvi's opinion. Nisipigwe mawe.
That is solely Mbuvi's opinion. Now, coming back to you, Mr. Director, the president also did mention the 200 million that is going to go to artists when it comes to their royalties, an agreement that, was arrived at in January. What can you tell artists at this point about the distribution of this money, given he said it's going to be effective as of this week?
On the president's directive on the royalties, I would like to say this, and as a way of clarifying, 200 million that the president spoke about is the amount of money that artists get from the Skiza platform, the Viusasa, and the CMOs. As at the last check, the CMOs could be, if the economy was working efficiently, not in this corona era, the CMOs could have made at least 80 million that would go direct to the artists, in addition to the around 130 that would come from the other channels. So it's not really an amount that that we have, but it's an amount that we expect to collect every month, and ensure that it's pushed to the artists so that they don't lack money going forward. So it's not a burden on the CMOs. They are working hard. They are trying under the circumstances. The economy is suffering due to corona. But there will be people also need to keep paying licenses. if they are still using the music, because there are people who are still operating businesses using music, they need to pay for it. So we will keep pushing, and that includes media, by the way, that media must support the art sector as much as possible, given the circumstances that we are facing.
All right. Now, when it comes to awareness levels among the population, and especially the creatives, just from the conversation with our artists here, you know, yes, there are those who know the importance of these CMOs and being part of this, especially when it comes to the Kenya Copyright Board and getting to copyright their creative works. When it comes to the awareness levels, maybe from where you sit as the director, what is being done to just ensure that artists understand and know that they need to protect their intellectual property, especially during this time where there's so much uncertainty going on, and just to ensure authenticity when it comes to your end of things in terms of protecting their rights? All right, we'll be linking up with the Executive Director of Kekobo in not too long. A bit of a technical hitch right there. But of course, artists, any questions, comments, or clarifications that you may be needing in regards to this discussion about this money that is set to go to artists, the 100 million, you can always shoot them through. Any questions about royalties of Mr. Director, will be here to address them if you are an artist. And one of the main functions of the Kenya Copyright Board is to maintain an effective data bank on authors and their works. This means they are here to ensure authenticity of creatives and their works. So just from what he has said, if you are an up-and-coming artist and you haven't registered, don't expect to, and you go and register right now, don't expect to get this money, because it is going to go to those who have already registered and have submitted their works to be copyrighted and protected during this time. So we have Mr. Director, I would believe we are back with him.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, all right, thank you. A bit of technical hitches right there. When it comes to ensuring that our artists, especially the up-and-coming artists who are now trying to be part of this 100 million portion, when it comes to awareness levels, to just let them know that they need to register with these CMOs and the vitality of this move, what would you say to them this morning and avoid this last-minute rush?
I think it's very critical that every artist who identifies himself as a person who can join one or the other CMO must join the CMO. I understand there are people, and we have freedom of association, who may not wish to join one or the other, but really by the copyright law, we expect only people who are who have registered in an organization or can otherwise be accommodated by that organization, because every of these societies is independent and autonomous. They have rules about if they get money coming through from the use of your work. They have a policy. Some of them have a policy of only paying members. Some of them only pay non-members with they pay, but they deduct a lot of money. So it's better for everybody who is an artist, who is a musician. For example, if you are a composer, author, and publisher, you join MCSK. If you are a producer of musical work, you join CAMP. If you are a person, a backup artist, maybe, or an actor, please join PRISC. I think it's very advisable. And it will enhance your career. There are other benefits of the societies, the welfare related, that you will only be able to know when you joined.
All right. Now, as we draw this conversation to a close, maybe, Mr. Governor, you'd address this whole situation, at least with the rest of the population. So many people have been salty about this move by the president to give this money to artists. And I can actually see one comment here on our Facebook page from one Samira Hassan, who's saying, mbona government ilipatia wasanii hii do wa kwanza na wakona do kwa account zao kila mahali, wangepea wanyonge ambao hawana hata chochote kamwe katika accounts zao. When it comes to the rest of the population and seeing the creatives as less of a priority profession and deeming them as, you know, not first in line to be getting this money, what would you like to say about that this morning?
Are you addressing? Yeah, okay. I would like to say that artists are among the vulnerable communities. Ni wanyonge. Wasanii wengi ni wanyonge. Na wametoka pengine mitaa ambayo ni pengine ni slums. Many of them have come from slums or a very poor background. But then the others who have got money, there are others who are still struggling. So there are a big variety of people. So there are really very poor artists. There are many who have come from poor backgrounds. There are others who are no longer vulnerable. Yes, and now people need to realize that artists lose their income on December 31st, because generally Q1 of the year, from January, Feb, up to March, they don't earn a lot because it's a very low season for them. Now with Corona again, when the season was about to pick up, the artists now are back to eating into their earnings, into the fourth month. Yeah. So I think people need to understand, I think, from that perspective. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sigei. That is the Executive Director of the Kenya Copyrights Board, Mr. Edward Sigei, just sharing with us his thoughts in regards to this conversation that has stirred up quite the reaction on social media. But now coming back to our artists, you know, we've heard from what Amesema before, you know, we should not look at creatives as less of a profession as most people are looking at it. And of course, this is in line with the fact that you get your earnings much later in the year. So the population needs to stop being salty about this situation. But tukimaliza hii conversation, Jua Kali, let me start with you. What will be your message to Kenyans this morning and other artists when it comes to just looking at each profession with the respect that it deserves, because you do this with your all?
Yes. Okay, my message kwanza ni to all Kenyans, watu wakuwe tu safe. Watu wafuate directive ya gava, kama ni kwa mask, watu wape mask everywhere unaenda, watu wa sanitize, watu wakuwe wasafi tu basically. Alafu hii kitu iko na mwanzo, iko na mwisho. Hii corona itaisha. So watu tu wavumilie. Alafu when it comes to sisi watu creative, yani over the years it has been historical, watu creative kudharauliwa.
Okay.
Unajua. So mimi I'll just tell the public, wasanii ni watu not very sharp.
Okay.
Being creative lazima ukue a very sharp, yani hawezi imba tu for the sake. Very sharp. Hii ni biashara tu, lakini other business. So artists wapewe tu heshima yao. Watu wa Twitter tunawajua tu. Watu wa Twitter
shikilia hapo usianzishe vita, tutazima saa hii. Hiyo tweet ya jana niliona na hiyo tweet ilikuwa ni ya kubelittle hii directive ya president. So the moment mna break down it for what? Aya, Jua Kali, shikilia hapo. Tutaendelea na hii conversation another time before tunyolewe. Edijo, in less than 3 seconds, 1 to 3 words. What?
Sawa, kuna actors wengi sana ambao hawako Prisk, kuna KAG, na kuna pia theater actors wale pia hawako kwa Prisk. So ni kuambia tu gava pia angalie watu wako KAG, watu wako Kenya Scriptwriters Guild.
Alright.
Ndio tupate wote, but niseme hivi, I am saddened nikiona mabeste wangu FB wakienda kusema venye wasanii hatufai kwa tukipewa do. Yet ni maboy wangu, ni mabeste wangu. Art is life.
Okay.
Na when you are on your lowest, manze una need
You
art
turn
kwenda
back to
juu. So
art.
hii story is compare. It's not a
yeah.
competition. Come together and enjoy the giftings of God.
Mbuvi. We Mbuvi
Yes.
Summarize.
Na summarize.
You have less than
Baraka
10
yangu
seconds.
baraka yangu ikikuja celebrate with me, yours is coming too. Unanielewa? Tujielevia tena tusaidiane. Nani atasema KBC na maanisha kaa bila corona kama si mzalendo? Au sio? Jua kali au sio?
Bila corona.
Asante mtu anasema but sanitize, quarantines, weka distance, let's be safe. Hii inapita, we celebrate after that. Si mko tu hapa wasanii wasilipe. Hiyo ngoma ni kali.
As we mute movie, that is that from their ends of things. Thank you so much. We had Juakali, Mbuvi, and Eddie Joe joining us for this conversation. But that brings us to a close of Good Morning Kenya. Thank you so much for staying with us. Do remember to join us again next week, right here on KBC Channel 1, which does not mean Kenya Bila Corona. See you next week. I'm Jane Mamboy. God bless.